What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lex Alexis. Today it is our championship review after match day 39. We've only have 9 games to talk about, but a lot of talking points have taken place in these 9 games. And we've finally have got a little bit of a break from predicting. We are now entering the international break, the final international break of this 21-22 season, which is a relief of me because I need to catch up with some university work ASAP. But there will be one very special video coming out in this channel during the international break, so keep your eyes out so that you can keep in track of it. It's basically a 1,000 subscriber special video. If you want to know the Let's Football Prediction League standings heading into the international break, check out my latest community tab. In all honesty, there was not much change in the table because it was a very difficult game week to predict. I only scored 2 points out of a possible 27. So it wasn't a really great game week for me in terms of predictions, but that was the same for most people as well. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does really help the channel. Let's aim for 20 likes as we head into the international break. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help the growth of the channel. We're trying to push to 1,050 subscribers as soon as we can. Please also share this channel to as many people as we can. All of that really helps the growth of this channel. But without any further ado, let's cover the couple of games that took place in this weekend. So the first game we'll cover is Derby and Coventry. It ended as a 1-1 draw, a result that doesn't really do either side any favours at all. This pretty much ends Coventry's chances of entering into the top 6. They would have to go on a huge point swing and, you know, hope that teams above them just drop their form, which I just don't see. And for Derby's sake, this draw actually drops Derby to the bottom of the table following the fact that Peterborough managed to win this weekend. Now, the first goal was scored by Coventry and it was quite a close game. And what I would like about this game, it was very open. Both teams had really good moments. But Coventry scored the first goal, a really nice team goal and great teamwork between Matt Godden and Callum O'Hare, especially working together for Callum O'Hare to do that first time pass and then that header. You know, that was just a perfect team goal. I think also could have done a bit better on it, but based on the build-up for itself, it deserved to be a goal. So that was 1-0 to Coventry. Derby pushed, but for me, in terms of creating chances, they weren't as effective as what Coventry were. Coventry definitely had a lot more openings, and had Coventry taken all their chances, it would have been a very different game. Derby got a lifeline when Tom Lawrence got fouled into the box by Ben Sheaf. It was a penalty. I think it was a little bit soft. I think it was a bit clumsy by Sheaf, but I do think Tom Lawrence takes advantage of the situation and falls over, so the referee does give a penalty. Tom Lawrence scores a brilliant penalty in the top left corner to make it 1-1. And overall, the team that went closest to winning it was Coventry. Gyökeres missing a 1-on-1 chance, a great save by Allsop, but there were many of these moments with Coventry, and it's been frustrating because in recent games, Coventry have been making so many chances, but they're just not taking them, and today's another example of that. Had they won this game, they definitely would have been right up there, still in the conversation, potentially to enter the chasing pack in the top 6 for Derby. They're now within 8 points behind Reading because, of course, Reading have also managed to win this weekend as well, so a very bad weekend for Derby County. The other early game that took place was Sheffield United and Barnsley, and it ended as a 2-0 victory to Sheffield United. You would argue that, you would think by the scoreline for Sheffield United had a pretty comfortable victory in this Yorkshire derby. But that really was not the case. Fotheringham made 2 outstanding saves to keep the scoreline down. And it was Barnsley, in terms of the build-up, that actually looked better. They had 10 shots compared to Sheffield United's 12. 3 shots on target compared to Sheffield United's 4th. They were right in this game. And I think based on how close those stats were, I think a draw would have been a fairer result. But Sheffield United took their chances, and that is the main difference. Their first goal came from a set-piece situation from a free kick. A really dangerous cross came in from Hurahan, and Collins just doesn't get there quick enough, and then it's an easy tap-in for Sander Berge to make it 1-0. For the second goal, Morgan Gibbs-White manages to nick the ball in the midfield, does a good driving run, and ultimately a brilliant through ball pass by Oliver McBurney. Says Morgan Gibbs-White 1-on-1, past Brad Collins to make it 2-0. And Barnsley, to reiterate, they did have those chances. Bassey had a chance. Morris had moments as well. But unfortunately, if you don't take your chances, you're not going to get your 3 points. Sheffield United did, and it was essential that Sheffield United won. This is a really good win for Sheffield United to put them safely in the top 6 during the last international break for Barnsley. They're still in 22nd place, but a big blow for them was Reading winning. You know, they've got a 5-point gap now to breach. So it's going to be very difficult for the bottom 3, including Barnsley, to try and survive. They're going to have to hope that Reading collapse and all 3 of them pick up some really good form. We go to Ashton Gate, and it ended as a 2-2 draw. Now, I tell you what, this result really came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't anticipating this game to contain many goals, I've got to be honest. But I did know about Bristol City's home form, and I think definitely I should have given Bristol City a little bit more of a chance. I would say, I think both teams defensively for the 4 goals were not great at all. Especially West Brom's part. Opening goal came from a really quick break actually, and the West Brom defenders just weren't anywhere near Naki Wells. They were out of position to make it 1-0. Carlin Grant equalised from the penalty spot. Was it a pen? I think yes, it was a pen most definitely. Dan Bentley definitely connects with Carl Bartley. There's some controversy maybe that Bentley should have got sent off. I would need to see it again to make a judge decision on that. Grant makes no mistake on the spot to make it 1-1, but Andre Varma scores a terrific volley to make it 2-1. But once again, it came from a set piece actually, and West Brom are being criticised a little bit with their set piece defending, and this was an example of that. No one's marking Varman, free volley to make it 2-1. But West Brom, with that little bit of quality right at the end, the overlapping run, finds Adam Reach, and he literally just comes on as a substitute with one of his first few kicks of the game, and bang, it's a goal for Adam Reach. It's 2-2. I mean, he's a player who's just appeared out of nowhere this season, Adam Reach. But he saves a point for West Brom. Pretty much both these teams were playing for pride. I don't really see any of these teams really having much to play for, maybe apart from West Brom, who, if they won, they probably would have started to catch up with the teams above them. But for the fact they both drew, I think both these teams will be playing for pride now. As with Bristol City, a bit disappointing for them for the fact they took the lead twice and they threw it. But it was a brilliant performance, apart from conceding the 2 goals, of course. Are we now seeing the collapse of Huddersfield Town? They lost against promotion rivals Bournemouth comprehensively by 3-0. When I saw the highlights, it didn't look like a game that was a 3-0 scoreline, because Huddersfield did test Mark Travers a couple of times. Danny Ward had 2 great shots, which resulted in 2 great saves from Travers. But Bournemouth, simply going forward, were absolutely devastating. Before they even scored, Dominic Solanke hit the crossbar, and then I felt, well, it looks like Solanke and Bournemouth are in the mood today. Then for the first goal, it was Jaden Anthony who managed to score the first goal. Jefferson Lerma, it was a pretty powerful goal from his part, and Dominic Solanke ends it off with, I would not lie, a brilliant skill goal. Just a back heel flick to literally just carry the ball past the reach of Nichols. It's not even that powerful, but the positioning is absolutely spot on from Solanke. He has really scored some saucy goals this season, a bit Ben Rama-esque, I would say, from Solanke, which made it 3-0. Bournemouth looked like they had a more effective way of finding space in the box. It didn't look like the Huddersfield were very well organised at the back, especially Anthony's goal. It was done with a really good save by Nichols, but then the defenders really couldn't clear the rebound from that save, and Anthony had a very easy goal in the end. So defensively, quite shambolic from Huddersfield, honestly. But with Bournemouth, we've got to see more of those performances, because now they've actually managed to increase their lead, in second place by 6 points. They've got a 6-point gap from Luton Town, who are now third place with 2 games in hand. In the MKM Stadium, Luton Town just defy the odds, most years, but this season especially. They've won by 3-1 away from home and are now third bloody place in the table. Luton Town, from National League, like nearly 10 years ago, are now third place in the Championship. You do not scratch your eyes. You are actually seeing the most unbelievable thing here. So, Luton Town managed to score an early goal in the 9th minute, and even before that goal, it was very clear their left-hand side was very, very weak, Hull. Cornick managed to do a run from the halfway line all the way to the left-hand side unchallenged, and they were lucky for Hull City saves that Ingram made a good save. But then, lo and behold, Adebayo does almost the exact same thing. He scores this time. Ingram can't keep it out to make it 1-0. Harry Cornet scores the second goal to make it 2-0. He was absolutely electric. He definitely deserved a goal. And then James Bree just completely takes things to another level where he scores a free kick just outside of the penalty box to make it 3-0. The one word I could describe that free kick was utter perfection. You would literally have to throw your body across the crossbar to even try and keep that out. You know, these are the most difficult free kicks to keep out when the ball rebounds off the crossbar. That made it 3-0. And Hull did create a little bit. They just did not take their chances as effectively as Luton did. You know, if you notice, they had a similar amount of shots on target, but Luton scoring 3 goals from their 5 shots, and then Hull scoring 1 goal from their 4 shots. So clearly, Luton had a more clinical or cutting edge in this game. Tommy's managed to get a consolation goal. Good play, actually, by Huddleston. So a good throwback there to Force. And then he did a really good square pass to find Eves. He stayed on side to make it 3-1. I think Hull, once again, I think they're safe. I think they've now cut themselves with a bigger gap already from the bottom 3. I don't think they've got to worry about relegation now. For Luton Town, who knows where they could be? They'll be disappointed at the international breakers now because they'll be feeling very confident that they can take any team on. This is reminding me of Barnsley last year. If they get it to the playoffs, it will be an unbelievable success story for Luton Town. We talked about very crucial wins, but this win right here is crucial for 2 different positions in the table. Well, for a start, Reading finally win another game under Paul Ince, a 1-0 victory over Blackburn Rovers. That win for Reading has now put them 5 points clear of the bottom 3. The fact that Derby and Barnsley didn't win this weekend too, it really is an advantage now for Reading. They would have to really collapse their run of form to get relegated now. With Blackburn, this defeat puts them in a very precarious position. They're now on 61 points, but only 2 points clear of Middlesbrough, QPR, and 3 points clear of Forest. And they've played more games than all 3 of those teams as well. So within a couple of game weeks, Blackburn could start falling out of the top 6, which they'd be gutted by, especially for the run of form they had, you know, right in the first half of the season. It was Josh Laurent that scored the only goal in the game, a thunder strike from just outside the box in the top corner to make it 1-0 to Reading. I predicted 0-0. Had that wonder strike not got in, I would have looked like a genius predicting 0-0 on the screen, because Blackburn barely created. You know, I know they had 5 shots on target, but based on the highlight reel, it was clear that their shots on target weren't any, you know, threat. You know, for one big chance I saw them have was when Bradley Dack, I felt if he had a better connection, he would have definitely got a goal. Bensound Gallagher completely missed the ball to try and tuck in a rebound. So these fine margins are really making a difference for Blackburn's season, and now they're in a really dangerous position. It is 7 consecutive away games they've actually not scored a goal. So Blackburn need to sort out their away form. Reading will now start be looking up rather than looking down. So fair play to Reading. It's a really good win on their hands, and they would have to really throw it away now if they cannot survive in the Championship. We finally see Stoke win a game for the first time in 8 games with a 2-0 victory over Millwall. Both of these sides have really puzzled me because both of them go on really good runs and then really bad runs. And this was a typical example of a Championship result. I think I even said it in my prediction. If Stoke beat Millwall, the less informed team beats the informed team, it will be a typical Championship result. So I don't know why I didn't even back Stoke in this game. But finally, some of the things that I was criticising are now just, they came together in this game. Jacob Brown managed to score a header, you know, very early on in the game to make it 1-0. I think that early goal did rattle Millwall a little bit. Had Millwall scored first, I think it would have been a very different game. I think it would have been a very similar game to when Millwall beat Derby by 2-1 when they scored an early goal. And then for the second goal, it was a very similar circumstances. It was a long direct free kick and then a header. Jacob Brown tried to claim it, but it was a George Saville own goal. Millwall even missed the chance to get a consolation and potentially a small glimmer of hope for them getting a comeback when Tom Bradshaw managed to win a penalty from a foul, I believe, by Phil Jagielka. Jed Wallace stepped up and he missed, and it was a really good save by Jack Bonham. Fair play to him. He's not played too many games as Stoke's #1 goalkeeper, but he saved a crucial penalty there, and had that gone in, Millwall could have had a small sniff of trying to get something back into this. So Jack Bonham, the hero in this game. Stoke managed to go up to 15th. Millwall stay in 10th place in the table, and I will say with Millwall, I don't think it's completely impossible for them to still get into the top 6 for the fact they have got games in hand. but Millwall can't afford one too many of those games anymore, especially if they do want to try and strive for those top 6 places. The last game that happened on the Saturday was a 0-0 draw between Swansea and Birmingham. What I will say, I thought Birmingham were quite unfortunate here. I looked at their chances and they had some proper chances. Tahith Chong, you can tell how much Birmingham missed having Tahith Chong in that squad. He was orchestrating everything, including that one big chance, which I think Junior Bakuna should score personally, but he skies the cutback from Tahith Chong right over the goal. Literally any other striker with low confidence would actually take that chance. Well, maybe not, but he definitely should have at least hit the target, and he skied it over the goal. They had 16 shots, Birmingham, and they had the highest XG out of all the Championship teams and scored 0 goals. This is exactly what we know about the Championship as well. Just nothing ever makes sense these days. Swansea did have a couple of moments. I'm not going to say that they were completely hopeless, but I will say Birmingham definitely went closer and they looked the more likely. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it, but their signings, I think, have really elevated the squad. Bakuna, Chong coming back feels like a new signing, and even Ono Hernandez, the amount of work he was doing in that game as well. I'm really liking where Birmingham are looking going forward. I think a little bit unlucky. Had they had their scoring boost, it definitely would have been a really good result, and I think Birmingham can see themselves really starting to improve in this tail end of the season. As with Swansea, I don't know what's going on with them now, but they definitely don't look like the team that they were when they were starting to really pick up some consistent wins recently. And the final game to talk about was yesterday's game between QPR and Peterborough. And Peterborough, for the 3rd time in a row, beat Queen's Park Rangers. I believe they beat Queen's Park Rangers by 3-1 in their FA Cup game, and they've beaten them again in the league game. Now, this game was a complete roller coaster of a match. I mean, it started all bells and whistles, really, and a really good start for QPR. Luke Amos managing to rock Jack Taylor off the ball, doing a fantastic solo run and a brilliant strike, because basically no one closed them down, unfortunately. It was quite poor defending for Peterborough's part. They had too much of a high line, but they got exposed, and that made QPR go 1-0 up. But I don't know what happened. All of a sudden now, Peterborough had one really good opportunity. They really pushed forward. A shot was well saved, actually, by Kieran Westwood, who is actually, I think, the second goalkeeper that QPR have had to sign based on goalkeepers sustaining injuries. Dieng, Marshall, they are all injured, so I had to get another goalkeeper in. Westwood made a good save, actually, but Johnson Clark-Harris got the rebound in, so it was disappointingly defensively that no one managed to clear the rebound. But Johnson Clark-Harris made it 1-1 going into half-time, and it was pretty much anyone's game, which 1-1 was the scoreline I predicted. But Peterborough win a penalty. Once again, pretty clumsy, but I think a little bit similar to the Tom Lawrence moment. Definitely took advantage of the situation of the defender being a bit clumsy there. Clark-Harris steps up to make it 2-1 to Peterborough. I'm thinking, okay, it looks like a real possibility Peterborough can win 3 times in a row. And then literally a minute later, who I think my man of the match in that game, despite Johnson Clark-Harris scoring 2 goals, I think Jack Marriott definitely deserves so much credit. Since Jack Marriott has now started to get into the starting 11 again, and he's not been on the injury table, he's looked like that he's now starting to inject some energy in this Peterborough squad, and he scored a brilliant goal to make it 3-1. I tell you what, Peterborough would feel a little bit better about themselves that they're not rock bottom going into the international break, albeit it still will be a very hard task for them to survive. They have got to try and bridge a 7-point gap to Reading, of course, but they have got some crucial games coming up. I think their running is quite tricky. I think it's Barnsley, the team in the bottom 3, who's got the better running out of all the bottom 4. With QPR, this almost feels like the last straw, which is really surprising for me to say, but the fan base is really starting to lose patience with Warburton, and for the fact that QPR are now starting their form. They've now fallen as far down as 8th place, and they don't have many games in hand anymore. So if they don't pull their socks together and they don't pull themselves together, they've got a real danger of falling out of the top 6 entirely. So guys, that is my review of the Championship. This is what the table is currently looking like as we enter the international break. Fulham and Bournemouth just completely leagues above the rest of the teams. Luton are now 3rd place. Don't scratch your eyes, you're really seeing that. Huddersfield 4th, Sheffield United 5th, and Blackburn still 6th place, but very precariously. Then for the teams in the bottom 4, so Reading now 5 points clear of the bottom 3, Barnsley 22nd, Peterborough 23rd, and Derby unfortunately fall back down to rock bottom. So guys, that'll have to wrap it up for today's video. I really enjoyed doing this review video today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helped the channel. Please do let me know your thoughts of this weekend's games in the comments down below. And please subscribe to the channel. It does really help. And please share this channel too, because that is how we're going to grow together as a community. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.